Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I have the next installment in testing my new Crosman M4-177 variable pump air rifle. I went ahead and tested a few more different pellets at 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 pumps each. Basically the 5 highest power levels for each pellet. And I tested it at point blank range. And I did it into this glycerin soap to go ahead and test penetration and expansion of each of the rounds tested. I kind of have them grouped together so we can compare similar pellets as well. Up top, red fire with no tip. Compared next to the red fire. You see it penetrates, and then it penetrates deeper, and then it doesn't penetrate as deep, but it expands harder, and then it starts to penetrate further. Which is interesting because the red fire with no tip had the same curve. Penetrate, penetrate, expand, don't penetrate as deep, and then start to expand again under higher power. 10 pumps here, 10 pumps here. If we flip this up, we'll see that with the standard red fire, this pellet right here gave me the best expansion, which was only 8 pumps power. One of the worst penetrating shots, but the best expanding. Over here, expansion was pretty consistent. Very wide, very broad. There's a hole through each and every one of these pellets. And the penetration actually beat the pellets of the red fire. You can see that. Let me get some light on that for you guys. You can see the pellet itself actually stops later in the soap for each of the no-tip pellets versus the red fire with the tip. Next pellet in line is the Gamo rockets on the right hand side here, and the Crosman Premier hollow point. These are both basically a domed pellet. One has a hollow point, the other has a BB ballistic tip. This is 9.8 grains. This is 7.9 grains. They penetrate very similarly. What's the difference here? Well, one's a ballistic tip, so it'll penetrate a little bit harder. One's a hollow point, so it'll flatten out. Major difference here is cost. About $8 for 500. About $9 for 150. Is it worth it? You be the judge. Down at the bottom we've got our only 2 true pointed pellets. I consider the red fire with a tip not to be a pointed pellet because the lead is so soft and it expands so freely. I consider it to be a hollow point. But the PBA is much harder, and so I actually consider this to be a pointed pellet. As you can see, it didn't really expand much at all. Against the Skenco Goldenrod PBA pointed pellet as well. The main difference here, I believe, is weight. This is a 5.4 grain pellet. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pumps. You can see 6 through 9, basically the same penetration and channel behind it, except for this one. Then 10, it's a little bit deeper. Skenco, much more linear. I said 8.5 grains, 5.4 grains. Way more expensive, 12.9 cents a round. Versus, it's like $11 for 100 of them. $11.99 for 100 of them. And these are about $9 for 150, so cheaper, but definitely, in my opinion, the better PBA pointed right here. I have hit things from 50 plus yards with this particular pellet in my Gamo Big Cat 1200, and it is an absolutely effective round on impact for sure. So accuracy, effectiveness, less cost than another pointed PBA, definitely a good pellet to look at. Especially, you can see it was the second best penetrator in my M4-177 so far, second only to the great penetrating Crosman pointed pellet. Crosman pointed is a lead pellet, 7.4 grain, I believe. This is a PBA 8.5. in any event, this is a good look at 6 more ammunitions that I have tested in my M4-177 variable pump air rifle by Crosman. Alright you guys, thanks a lot, rate and subscribe.